Think about just the sheer number of things you do each day without even a flicker of conscious thought. That morning routine, how you navigate your commute, even, how you respond to certain emails.
Yeah, they're just automatic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
These deeply grooved pathways in our brains, our habits, they're like the silent architects of our daily lives and, well, ultimately, who we become.
They really are.
Okay, let's really get into this because today we're doing a deep dive into understanding these incredibly powerful, often invisible forces.
And we've got a really rich set of material to explore, actually. Some fascinating research looking at the fundamental science behind how habits take root.
Right.
Some very practical sort of step-by-step advice on building the habits you want and shedding those that, hold you back.
Yeah, the practical stuff is key.
And even some compelling real-world experiences, people actually tracking and shaping their habits.
Exactly. So your mission for this session, and you're already on board clearly, is to extract the core principles of habit formation and change from all this information. Our goal is to make this knowledge immediately useful, something you can take and apply directly to whatever you're striving for. Could be leveling up professionally, boosting personal well-being, or, just satisfying that curiosity about why we do what we do.
Absolutely. Ready to dive in.
Let's do it.
Okay, so let's maybe lay the groundwork first by looking at the fundamental science, how these automatic behaviors actually emerge.
Right. One of the really interesting points that came through, I think, from Domenico Maisto's work is this idea that habits really thrive in stable environments.
Yes, that predictability factor.
He talks about how forming a habit is essentially your brain shifting from active planning and deciding to running a much more efficient automatic routine.
Saves energy.
Totally. And here's where it gets really interesting. He describes these animal experiments where repeated tasks with consistent rewards in unchanging conditions led to these ingrained, almost rigid habits.
Right, inflexible.
It's like the brain just goes, okay, this works. No need to overthink it anymore.
That's a great way to put it, yeah. When the environment is predictable, your brain can start to anticipate and automate responses, which, as we know, significantly reduces mental effort. And Philippa Lally adds to this by defining habitual behaviors as specific responses triggered by cues.
Okay, the triggers.
Yeah. These cues can be anything, really. A physical location, the people around you, even an internal state like feeling tired or hungry.
Right.
The crucial element, she emphasizes, is the mental link we forge between that cue and a particular action, that association.
So it's that ingrained if-then in our minds, isn't it? Like if I'm on the couch after dinner, cue, then I automatically reach for the remote action.
Precisely. That's it, exactly. And Samuel Nordley's contribution really just reinforces this cue-driven perspective. There's a strong consensus among researchers that these triggers are fundamental. They kickstart those automatic sequences.
Okay, so we've got this foundation. Habits forming through cues in stable environments. Brain's efficiency drive, basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
Now, let's pivot to the really practical side. How can we actively cultivate those good habits we're aiming for? And James Clear's Atomic Habits, that offers some incredibly powerful insights here.
Indeed. Yeah, it's become so influential. One of the most impactful concepts he introduces is that idea of 1% daily improvement.
Right, the tiny gains.
It might sound almost insignificant on a daily basis, right? But the cumulative effect over time is just, it's quite remarkable.
It really is.
Clear illustrates that if you can improve by just 1% each day for a year, you'll end up like a staggering 37 times better by the end.
37 times. That's not just incremental change. That's a fundamental transformation. It's kind of mind-blowing when you think about it.
It is. And of course, the flip side is also true, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
That tiny 1% daily decline can have a surprisingly detrimental impact over the same period.
Really highlights the power of those small, consistent actions. For better or for worse, it's like compound interest for your life.
Exactly. Compound interest for self-improvement. And it's not solely about achieving specific outcomes. It's fundamental about shaping who you become.
Right. The identity piece.
Yes. Clear articulates this beautifully. He says, every action is a vote for the type of person you wish to become.
That's powerful phrasing.
It really connects directly to the idea of identity change. His suggestion involves two key steps. First, clearly define the kind of person you aspire to be.
Okay.
And then prove it to yourself through consistent small wins that align with that identity.
That's such a profound shift in perspective, I think. It moves beyond just, chasing a goal to actually embodying a certain set of values and beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of just saying, I want to lose weight, you decide, I am someone who prioritizes their health and well-being.
Precisely.
And then every healthy meal or like short walk you take becomes evidence supporting that identity. It builds on itself.
Exactly right. And these small, identity-consistent actions build a stronger sense of self and reinforce the new habits. Now, to really understand how we initiate and solidify these small wins, we need to delve into the mechanism often called the habit loop.
Okay, the habit loop, the inner workings of our automatic behaviors. Both Atomic Habits and that Healthline article discuss the 4 laws of behavior change, which neatly breaks down this loop into cue, craving, response, and reward.
Right, that's the framework, yeah. This loop essentially represents a neurological feedback mechanism. A cue triggers a craving.
A desire.
Right, which in turn motivates your response, the habit itself, and then the reward you receive reinforces this entire sequence. It makes the habit more and more automatic over time.
Like a continuous cycle.
Think of it as a continuous cycle that just strengthens with each repetition.
Okay, let's break down each component then. The cue. That's the initial trigger, right? The reminder that sets the habit in motion. The Healthline article gave some really relatable examples. Your physical location, the time of day, your current emotional state.
Yeah, how you're feeling.
You have the people around you, or even the action you just completed, like that morning alarm clock being a cue to hit snooze, a habit many can probably relate to.
Oh, definitely. Or, as mentioned earlier, flushing the toilet acting as a cue to wash your hands. That preceding action becomes the trigger for the next.
Ah, okay.
And those internal cues, like a surge of anxiety, can trigger habits like checking your phone for reassurance or something.
Right, makes sense. Then we have craving. Now, this isn't the habit itself, but it's the underlying motivation, the desire that's linked to the cue.
Yes. It's the anticipation of the reward that drives us to act. It's actually not the habit we crave, but the state change or the feeling it delivers.
Okay, so it's the feeling you're after.
Exactly. It's the anticipated satisfaction or relief. Following that is the response, which is the actual habit, the specific behavior we perform. This can be a conscious decision, like deciding to grab a healthy snack when you feel that afternoon energy dip. Or something more unconscious, like, say, biting your nails when you're feeling stressed.
Got it. And finally, the reward. This is the payoff, right? The benefit we experience as a result of the behavior, which ultimately reinforces the entire loop.
That's what closes the loop and teaches your brain, hey, this sequence is worth remembering.
The Healthline article offered some very insightful, practical examples here, like consider the habit of online shopping when feeling bored.
Right.
The cue is the boredom, the routine is browsing online stores, and the reward is the temporary distraction, maybe the excitement of a new purchase.
Yeah, that little dopamine hit. Another powerful example they used was the habit of texting an ex.
Oh, yeah, that one.
The cues might be feelings of loneliness or stress, perhaps, exacerbated by having a drink. The routine is sending that text.
Yeah, and the reward.
And the rewards could be a fleeting sense of connection or validation, maybe even sexual satisfaction or emotional support in that moment, even if it's ultimately detrimental in the long run.
It's so interesting how potent those immediate rewards can be in maintaining habits, even ones we intellectually know we should probably break.
Absolutely. It highlights the power of immediate gratification in shaping our behavior, overriding that long-term thinking sometimes.
Definitely. Okay, understanding this loop feels like gaining a crucial insight into the mechanics of our own behavior.
Yeah.
So how do we take this knowledge, cues, cravings, responses, rewards, and intentionally use it to cultivate the good habits we desire? That Reclaim.ai guide had some really actionable steps.
Yes, it's a very practical resource. The first step they emphasize, which makes perfect sense given our discussion, is to understand your own habit loops.
Know thyself.
Pretty much. Becoming consciously aware of the cues, routines, and rewards tied to the habits you want to build or change. That's the essential starting point. You have to see it first.
Then they highlight the importance of starting incredibly small. This really aligns with that 1% improvement concept from Atomic Habits, doesn't it?
It really does. They even shared a memorable quote, breaking a bad habit is like trying to uproot a deeply established oak tree.
Yeah.
Whereas building a good habit is more like nurturing a delicate flower.
Oh, I like that analogy.
It really underscores the need for patience and consistent, gentle effort, not trying to do too much too soon.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The next key, they say, is to make the desired habit attractive. This directly addresses the craving component of the habit loop we just talked about.
Right. If you can associate the new habit with positive feelings or make it something you genuinely look forward to, you'll significantly increase your chances of sticking with it. Maybe pair it with something you already enjoy.
Yeah, like listening to a favorite podcast only while you exercise.
Exactly. Temptation bundling.
And this one really hit home for me. Make it consistent. Don't break the chain.
Ah, yes. The Seinfeld strategy, some call it.
They referenced James Clear's point that missing a single day can be more detrimental than a single successful day is beneficial, especially in the early stages.
It breaks the momentum.
Yeah, that idea of maintaining a visual streak, even if it's just a few minutes of the desired behavior each day, seems incredibly powerful. Using a calendar or a habit tracker to mark your progress gives that tangible reinforcement.
It does. That visual evidence of your consistency can be a huge motivator and help you stay on track, especially when motivation naturally dips.
Of which it inevitably does.
The next crucial step is to design your environment to support your desired habit. This links back to what Domenico Maisto discussed about the influence of a stable, or maybe, let's say, intentional environment.
Right, make the cues for good habits obvious.
Exactly. If you want to incorporate more movement into your day, placing your walking shoes right by the door acts as a powerful cue.
Or keep healthy snacks visible and junk food hidden away.
Precisely. You're engineering your space for success.
That makes so much sense. It's about strategically reducing the friction for good habits, and conversely, increasing the friction for unwanted habits.
Right.
Make the good easy, the bad difficult.
You got it. The Reclaim.ai guide also stressed the significance of tracking your progress. They point out that habit formation is gradual, right? You might not see immediate, dramatic results, which can be discouraging.
Definitely.
However, consistently tracking your efforts allows you to visualize that longer-term trajectory and provides a sense of accomplishment along the way. Even small progress feels good when you see it logged.
Yeah, and they mentioned a whole bunch of tools, right? Apps like Reclaim.ai itself, Streaks, Habit Now, Notion templates, even just a bullet journal spreadsheet.
Yeah, huge list. Finding a tracking method that resonates with you is key to staying engaged and motivated. Doesn't have to be complicated.
Okay, and then a crucial element. Be kind and compassionate with yourself when you experience setbacks.
Oh, this is so important because they will happen. It's a natural part of the process.
Yeah, nobody's perfect.
As James Clear wisely noted, you don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. The occasional slip-up shouldn't be seen as like total failure or a reason to abandon your efforts entirely.
Exactly. It's about acknowledging the misstep, maybe learning from it if you can, and then just getting back on track with your next opportunity.
Yeah.
Don't let one missed day become two.
Right. Bounce back quickly. The guide also reinforced the importance of focusing on your identity rather than solely on outcomes, which we touched upon earlier.
Back to the who you want to become.
Exactly. When your habits are aligned with who you aspire to be, they feel less like chores or obligations and more like, natural expressions of your identity.
I am a runner versus I want to run more.
Precisely. And finally, they underscore the necessity of patience. True and lasting transformation just takes time.
No overnight fixes.
No. As Charles Duhigg explored in The Power of Habit, these things don't solidify in a day or even a week. It's the consistent application of these small steps that leads to significant change over the long haul. Focus on the process.
Okay, so we've armed ourselves with these fantastic strategies for building good habits. Seems straightforward enough, but we know it's not always easy. What happens when we encounter those inevitable obstacles?
Yeah, the roadblocks.
What are some common challenges and how can we effectively navigate them? The Faster Capital article and some of our other sources offered some really valuable insights here.
Yes, it's important to anticipate these and have strategies ready. One common hurdle is a lack of clear motivation or understanding of your why.
Right, why am I even doing this?
Exactly. The Faster Capital article rightly emphasizes the importance of connecting with your deeper reasons for wanting to adopt a particular habit. Without that strong underlying motivation, it's just too easy to lose momentum when things get tough.
That resonates deeply. If your why isn't compelling, the what and how will inevitably feel like a struggle. Another challenge they highlighted is setting expectations that are unrealistic or overly ambitious.
Oh yeah, biting off more than you can chew.
Trying to overhaul multiple aspects of your life simultaneously, like starting January 1st, it can quickly lead to overwhelm and burnout.
Definitely. Starting small, as Reclaim.ai emphasized, is a direct way to combat this. Small, achievable goals build confidence.
Precisely. And then there's the challenge of maintaining consistency. We know it's key, but life happens.
It does. As James Clear stressed with his don't break the chain concept, regular repetition is crucial for solidifying habits. The Faster Capital article echoes this, reminding us that consistency, even in small doses, is way more effective than sporadic, heroic bursts of effort.
Okay, and procrastination. That's a big one for many people.
The eternal struggle.
They mentioned the 2-minute rule. If a task or a step towards your desired habit can be completed in under 2 minutes, just do it immediately.
Yeah, don't even think about it.
It can be a surprisingly effective way to overcome that initial inertia, that feeling of, ugh, I don't want to start.
It really can. Just get the ball rolling. Dealing with temptations is another major challenge, obviously. Resisting the urge for the old unwanted habit. The strategies here often involve proactively managing your environment, like we talked about. Minimize exposure to those triggers. Make the bad habit harder to do.
Right? Out of sight, out of mind sometimes. And cultivating accountability can make a substantial difference too.
Yes, leveraging social support or structure.
Sharing your goals with a friend, using habit tracking apps with reminders, or even considering a dedicated accountability partner like they mentioned in the context of financial habits can provide valuable support and motivation.
Absolutely. Knowing that someone else is aware of your goals, maybe even checking in, can provide that extra layer of commitment. You don't want to let them down or yourself.
True. And we can't overlook the importance of managing setbacks with grace and resilience. As we discussed, they are inevitable. It's not if, but when.
Right. The key is to learn from them without spiraling into self-criticism and to recommit to your goals promptly. Don't beat yourself up.
It's interesting, some of the challenges related to A/B testing that were mentioned in our sources actually offer insightful parallels to personal habit formation.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Well, concepts like insufficient sample size. It reminds us that we need to consistently practice a new habit for a sufficient period before we can really judge its effectiveness, right? Can't just try it twice and give up.
That's a great point. You need enough data points, enough repetitions. And ignoring qualitative feedback, that highlights the importance of paying attention to how we feel about our habit attempts, not just the numbers on a tracker.
Yeah, is this actually making me feel better? Is it sustainable?
Those are excellent connections. And considering the long-term impact of our habits, ensuring they align with our evolving identity, that's crucial. Are these habits building the person I want to be in 5 years?
Similarly, ensuring that our tracking methods are consistent and unbiased helps us get a clear picture of our progress without, unintentionally setting ourselves up for discouragement. Don't fudge the number.
Right, be honest with yourself. And sometimes we might encounter inconclusive results. A new habit might not yield the desired effects as quickly as we'd hoped.
Yeah, the scale isn't moving, or I don't feel dramatically different yet.
Which underscores the need for patience and persistence again. And also being mindful of limited resources. Maybe just focus on establishing 1 or 2 key habits initially, rather than trying to overhaul everything at once. That can increase our chances of success.
Yeah, don't spread yourself too thin.
Exactly. And while some challenges were discussed in specific contexts, like fear of rejection in network marketing,
Right.
we can see how that might relate to the fear of judgment or failure when adopting a new, perhaps unconventional habit. What will people think if I start doing X?
That's true. Similarly, dealing with boredom and plateaus, as mentioned with exercise routines, reminds us that we might need to introduce variety and find ways to keep our habit practices engaging over the long term.
Keep it fresh, yeah. Mix things up slightly.
And practical considerations like time management, actually scheduling dedicated time for our new habits, treating it like an important appointment, putting it in the calendar.
And navigating social pressure. Perhaps seeking out supportive communities or friends who share similar goals are also important factors. Absolutely, your social environment matters too. Even the challenge of lack of access, like in the zero waste context, that can remind us that sometimes external circumstances do create barriers.
Right, it's not always just willpower.
And we might need to explore creative alternatives or just start with what is feasible in our current situation. Don't let perfect be the enemy of good.
Good point. And finally, factors like convenience making good habits easier to incorporate and acknowledging potential financial barriers, maybe exploring free or low-cost ways to begin, along with cultivating flexibility to adapt when unexpected events inevitably disrupt our routines. Those are all essential for long-term habit integration. Life throws curveballs.
It certainly does. Being adaptable is key.
Wow, okay. We've really gone deep into the world of habits today.
We really have covered a lot of ground.
So, to quickly recap for everyone listening, we've explored how habits operate as these automatic loops: cue, craving, response, reward. That's the engine.
The core mechanism.
We've learned about the incredible power of small, consistent improvements, that 1% idea, and how understanding the habit loop is just fundamental to making lasting change.
Knowing the rules of the game.
Plus, we've uncovered a wealth of practical strategies for building new habits, making it obvious, attractive, easy, satisfying, and gain valuable insights into the common challenges we might face and, crucially, effective ways to navigate them.
Exactly. It all kind of boils down to understanding these core principles and then applying them with intention, consistency, and, importantly, a healthy dose of self-compassion.
Well said. So here's a final thought to really sink in as you go about your day. Think about one small habit you've been contemplating. Maybe something you want to build, maybe something you want to break.
Just one thing.
Just one. Drawing on everything we've discussed today, what's one tiny, almost ridiculously easy change you could make to your immediate environment or your daily routine today, like right now or this evening?
Something super small.
Something to subtly nudge yourself in the desired direction. Maybe it's placing a book by your bedside instead of your phone tonight. Or keeping a water bottle visible on your desk tomorrow morning.
Simple adjustments.
Just reflect on the surprising power you actually have to shape your daily life, one seemingly insignificant habit at a